Moms of Reddit. What is a wild secret of your past that your kids rather not know about? When I graduated college, my mom casually dropped the fact that she, a tiny little Asian woman, used to deal large quantities of marijuana when she was in high school, and once had to skip a basketball game because she accidentally took a duffel bag full of weed to school instead of her gym bag. Both my parents were very honest throughout most of my life, but over the summer when I was 17, my mom had mentioned that before I was born that my dad wanted to get an abortion. I had figured out on my own why my dad wanted an abortion was because we didn't make enough money to support another child. But my mother fought for me. So my dad ended up stopped drinking and smoking to be able to financially support me. Just found out last year that my mom got pregnant in college. The guy split as soon as he found out and she never saw him again. She decided to have the baby, avoided going home when she was showing, and gave it up for adoption. My grandparents never knew, they died a few years ago, and I found out due to an Ancestry.com DNA test. My half-brother contacted me and we pieced it together. She was relieved that it all came out in the end. It had been weighing on her all these years. She's in her 70s, I'm 40 now, and my new half-brother is 52 or so. Needless to say, it was a huge surprise. I never in a million years would have guessed at that. I'm the dad in this situation, but my wife used to be severely addicted to opiates, which I helped get her out of by moving the family to a new town and letting her spend 2 weeks in bed dealing with withdrawals while I handled every other aspect of the house, including finding work and setting up the kids for school, etc. I just told the kids she was sick and needed to sleep, which wasn't entirely false. It was super emotionally taxing, but I would do it again in a heartbeat because it worked, and she's been clean for 2 years. My mom was a crazy native child that started smoking at 10, smoke or choke as my grandma put it, sold single cigarettes in elementary school, once burned down a patch of forest because she was playing with fire with her friends, smoked her brother's weed and drank with her dad, and ran away from home at 19. Now she scolds me and my sis for swearing in front of her. When my wife let it slip around her mom that she was having a lot of lesbian urges, her mom just waved it off and said been there, done that, didn't like it. Daughter of a mother with a wild secret, my dad was abusive, an extreme alcoholic, and hit her regularly, so she kicked him in the balls so hard that he couldn't have kids, after me, obviously. He's dead now, drunk driving. He took 4 people with him. My aunt got tipsy and told me everything. Not sure how wild this is, but right before I was born, like 2 or 3 days beforehand, my dad's older cousin had a daughter born severely unhealthy. She wasn't stillborn, but she wasn't going to make it past a few days. So anyway, after I was born, my dad's aunt came into the delivery room and said to my mom, "You two are young, you'll have plenty of time to have another child, but my daughter can't. Let me buy this baby off of you." I only found out about this when I was about 15 because my sister told me. Apparently my parents never planned on telling me this. I grew weed legally. When I did it, my straight-laced father went on a long speech about growing techniques and tips. About 2/3 through he kinda stopped and stared at me and my brother and adds the addendum. "So I've heard." Through it all my mom was shooting daggers at him. Growing up, my mother was a titan. She graduated top of her class in her farm and chaired several major drug regulation boards. She was always very serious about school, and we were told that BS were absolutely unacceptable because she was a straight A student all through college. We took that to heart up until I was cleaning out the attic a few years ago when I discovered some old grade reports from college. Guess who got a C in sociology and another one in linear algebra? Tough take, mom. Tough take. I was a sugar baby in college. Made a lot of money but blew it all on dumb stuff. Also, my best friend from college and my roommate had the same sugar daddy. My kids call her aunt, they love her and she loves to babysit. My roommate and I had a lot of sex with each other. It was enjoyable, but it was mostly due to our daddy. He obviously found it hot. I was also submissive to both of them. Mommy did some nasty things. My mom used to date a drug lord in Birmingham, but was practically his crack whore. He raped her, she had my brother, and to get away from it all, she joined the military. Dude ended up going to prison at the same time, and was stabbed to death just a few weeks in. My mother didn't tell us or my brother, until he was around 35-ish. My mom told me once, while she was tipsy, that my dad was actually her high school teacher and they began a sexual relationship when she was his student at the age of 16. She said they would often have sex with her in school uniform. They managed to keep everything under wraps for years, and they got married when she graduated from college and gave birth to me a few years later. When my girlfriend, wife now, and I were first together, she was gone all summer, came back to town and we got it on. However, it was also noon. And the windows were open. And she's a screamer. We stopped in the middle because she saw some light dancing around on the ceiling. Looked down and a cop was shining a light in. Luckily he let us off with a warning to close the windows, however, due to her height he did have to ask for her ID to verify that she was old enough. She was 22. My kids probably never need to know that. I just learned that I was likely conceived on Easter, when my mom wore a crotchless lace onesie and teased my dad all night, and then I was born 9 months later. FML. I was talking with my mom about finding jobs and she told me all sorts of things she did for jobs, including working as a waitress at a strip club. My mom told my siblings and me on Easter when I was 14 that she used to be a child prostitute for the Yakuza. She told us because her sister was going to tell us because she felt like my mom had stolen her daughter and was using it as a bargaining chip. My cousin came to live with us across the country because her mom was in jail for drug abuse. I'm a dad, not a mom, but I know what my wife's answer would be. How much she likes anal.